yeah, things are looking up for us.
Oh, good. Okay. I know that was a little rough last time we all talked. Awesome. Well, let's get going. I know folks will join us, but as we start to go through, but our main goal was we just recently had an amazing new update. Biggest and most exciting of most to your students will be the Nether update. I've dropped in kind of all of the goodies here in our article. If you haven't updated yet, today is a playthrough. We're going to actually go through and play and discuss how you can use some of these new features in your classroom. So we do encourage you can open up another browser or another window right now with Minecraft in it, get that going. You're going to want to make sure that you are updated to, on the right hand side, version 17.30.5. So if you're not aware, that article shows you how to update if it didn't auto update for you. But today, our mentors are going to take you through some of the Nether updates that you're going to find, some new mobs, biomes, structures, cool caves and cliffs updates. You can have 40 multiplayer now, which is really awesome for those of you who had 32 or 33 students in a class and tried to do multiplayer. That's always a good bonus. And all sorts of other new things with structure block updates, library updates, photos as items. So all sorts of goodies. So our goal with the playthrough is that these mentors can help walk us through some of those and see, what does this mean? Is this usable? How might I integrate this new feature? So with that, I'll go ahead and unshare my screen. And if Dan and Jacob and Nathan, if you wanted to give a quick introduction of yourselves, would love that. And then take us away. I'll be here if you need anything.
Thanks, Wendy. Hi there, my name is Dan Noble. I am a classroom technician and a Minecraft global mentor with the Waterloo Catholic District School Board in Ontario, Canada. And I guess I'm a huge Minecraft fan, and I've been playing for years. And yeah, I've got some builds behind me here. I'm a little bit of an expert at this point. Nathan, why don't you jump in next?
Yeah, no worries. I'm Nathan Richards. So again, like Rob, I work in Brisbane, former classroom teacher, and now work from kind of an office role, traveling to schools and supporting them in the use of using technology as an enabler in teaching and learning, and Minecraft falls into that role. So I'll hand it over to Jacob.
Hi there, I'm Jacob. I'm in Naples, Florida with Collier County School District, and I teach technology kindergarten through 5th grade. Currently, I'm still a classroom teacher, and I've been a mentor this is my first year being a mentor, and second year playing Minecraft in a classroom setting.
All right, well, I guess we can get started. Nathan is going to take us through the wonderful world of the new structure block, which I'm really excited about myself.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to confirm in true Teams meeting fashion style. You can see my screen, Dan and Jacob.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Wonderful. So I'm going to go through the new structure block feature, which has received a fairly significant update with this with the new update, obviously. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to model something that's been built. So this house here has been built. If you're not familiar with structure blocks, what was available before was that we could take that structure and export it as a 3D object, and you could take it from there, Paint 3D, PowerPoint, put it into a 3D printer, lots of extension opportunities. But the one feature I think that we've always kind of been missing is this ability, I guess I like to just call it copy and paste in Minecraft, because builds can take a while, and especially if we want to replicate anything or move something, that can be quite time consuming. So this one is going to be a great little time saver. So we're going to take this example here and pretend as if we were building a village, and as if this village had multiple versions of these houses. So with this new structure block, so this one's already sitting here. We'll show you how to get one in a second when I copy and paste this one. Is when we click to open it up, which is some reason I don't have control. Give me 1 second. How bizarre. I have no idea why my right clicker is not working. Let's try that now. I was going to check.
Maybe type in /WB.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Cool. Could you switch me to a operator?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. That will fix that. Not normally something you have to do, but that's right, we will.
Go. There we go. Okay, everybody should be able to do that now.
Perfect. There we go.
There we are.
Thank you. So we would typically be very familiar with this 3D export option. So where we place the block around and we move our X, Y, and Z coordinates to capture what we want. And so if you aren't familiar with them, we can move and shift. Here are our 3 X, Y, and Z coordinates. So, if I wanted to not capture the structure block, I could technically put like an offset in there of 1, and so that will offset that 1 off from the structure block. And if I wanted to get rid of this empty space, I could also bring this back down, and that is how we would typically do our 3D export. There's a couple of extra options here now, and mainly we're looking at this save and load. So when we come to save here, the coordinates part is still exactly the same, but we can name our structure. So here, you just have to write what you want to name it. The software will do the my structure part on its own. So you just need to write in log house, and it will save that. Now there's 2 options here. We're just going to look at one today, and that's the default, which is to save to memory. You can also choose to save to disk and export as well, and we'll talk about kind of options around exporting that save and what that could mean for other worlds. But essentially, we're just going to save that. So it's saved. That structure is now saved to the memory, which means that if I go somewhere else, it's aware that this structure called log house exists, and it knows what is sitting inside that area. So if I wanted to come over here to put a replicated version down, we just need to enter into the chat command. It's /give itself, and then we just start writing structure block, and there it is there. And so there's my structure block in my hotbar down the bottom. So I can place that down again. And it's good to kind of, you've got a rotation, which I'm going to do today, but it's always good to kind of take note of how this is appearing naturally. So as in, if I go to place this structure, and if I was to come back and look at this as a side-by-side comparison, it's going to just put it facing in the same direction. So if you want it turned, we're going to do that today, so I'll show you that, is that when we come in here, we switch from save to load, and this is where it's going to look for the structure that we've already saved. So if I type in log house, and it is very case sensitive, as in if I didn't put a capital H, it wouldn't pick it up. But you'll know you've got it because this changes, and you don't see anything yet, but it's aware of the space and the structure that it's going to encompass. So that's normally like your first clue that you've got it right. The other thing to keep in mind is that this default offset is always at -1, which means it'll actually put my house into the ground. So sometimes you do need to pick that up and move it so it's actually sitting on the grass. I know you can't see the grass, but it's just something to take into consideration. A couple other features before we spin this around is if you included entities, which you can do in that process, you can turn them off if you don't want to take them with you. Just make sure that is either on or off. But we have this rotation here. And so it's just basically, it's a little slider. So you can pick 90, 180 or completely, or 270, sorry. But if I just choose my 90, and then I'm going to choose here to load, and it will place it down there on the ground. So because I spun that 90 degrees in the direction of which this one was sitting, they now kind of, it's as if I'm kind of creating that center in the middle of a village or something. And it's significantly faster than having to build one and then go and build another. So that kind of like sums up the whole structure block part. There is the ability to also take that structure now and place it into a completely separate world. I'm going to post a link which I've got ready to go in a second when I'm finished, just to a YouTube video from last year, which is still relevant. That is just a walkthrough, and there is a downloadable resource pack to help you in that process, but it would probably take up the whole session if I was to show you how to move from one world to another. So we're going to leave that for you to explore in your own time, but it is certainly possible now. And I know Rob and myself are loving it, trying to pull things from other worlds and bring them in together as one. The only thing just to keep in mind is the structure box dimension. So they, from memory from testing, the largest that they go to is 64 by 64 by 64. So when you're building anything and you might want to move it, just keep that in mind. It's quite often a good practice to put the structure block down first, stretch it all the way out to 64 so you can see these lines, and then you know that anything that goes outside of that you're not going to be able to capture. But that is it from me. If you got any questions, pop them in the chat and I'll try and answer while the other guys are going through the other features, and I'll put a link to how to import structures between worlds. But cool. I think I'm handing over to Jacob.
Yes, let's see how that goes. I guess we got to switch over.
Yep.
Teams here. All right, can you guys see my screen? Let me check the chat room here.
Perfect. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so my piece is the Nether, which in this update, really the Nether update is more, I would consider fun, some of the components to it. But there are some things about it that makes teaching a little more interesting. You can definitely have a lot more, it's a lot more beautiful looking world in the Nether now than it used to be. Accessing the Nether is a lot easier as well. So normally you would have to build what I would consider kind of an elaborate portal. And when you're teaching teachers how to do this, that kind of is a little bit difficult to teach this. But now what they have done is actually put it in the main menu of Minecraft to be able to start off in the Nether world. So in the list of biomes, you can now select the Nether and start there. So this is our portal that we just kind of pre-built for this level. But normally I would start off in the Nether on the biomes list. So we kind of have a little demo here with some of the new blocks and some of the new things that you can do in the Nether. And some of these are just the more decorative areas of the world. So I'll kind of start from the side here with some of the new block styles. So you have lodestone. We have a soul campfire, which is a really cool blue campfire instead of a red style campfire. We have quartz blocks, and this is one of the lanterns, one of the new soul lanterns. Let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a nether gold ore. This one I totally forgot to write down. And what I think is probably the more interesting thing for people that are watching is this block is called a respawn anchor, and you'll see that it kind of has a recess in the block, and this is kind of important. So let's say you are wanting to build a world in the Nether, which if you've never been here before, it's kind of caves and caverns and lava, and there's all sorts of stuff about this biome that are great for teaching different subjects. But this is a respawn anchor, and you can search for this in your inventory. Sort of respawn, and it looks like this, purple. Respawn anchor. And to activate the anchor, you'll use this thing called glowstone. So you'll search for glowstone. Glowstone. And I know I'm going a little bit fast, so if anyone wants to ask me to post these in the chat, I certainly will. But in order to activate it, you right-click with glowstone once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And you'll notice that it says respawn point set. And what this does in the Nether is it allows you to explore the Nether. And let's say you fall into a pit of lava, and normally when you respawn in the overworld. So the Nether is actually the world down under, kind of like the Earth and below the crust of the Earth. So normally you would respawn on the surface of the Minecraft Earth. So what the respawn anchor allows you to do is respawn at this position, which is great for exploring or helping control the game in a classroom setting. Some other things, we have another torch, which kind of goes with the soul fire, the soul, I totally forget the name of this thing, blue soul torch, and a couple other more decorative items here. This one is soul sand, the crying obsidian, you have blackstone, gilded blackstone, and the last one, polished blackstone bricks. So I thank my students for helping me name all of these different blocks here, because I totally did not know all these new names. So shout out to my kids at Parkside. And some other cool things that I want to show you guys is kind of funny, but I think this would be a great mini lesson for a teacher, is actually some of the new mobs. There is a ton of new enemy mobs. We have them kind of behind an invisible wall here. And what's new about these mobs is that they can be a little bit aggressive, which those are some things that you can change in some of the game settings. So don't be afraid of using this biome in your classroom. If you use the game settings, you can actually go and modify things about the mobs and how they interact in the world. So you have world options and you have classroom settings that allows you to kind of turn off some of these features about the mobs. And so I am going to show you something kind of funny that my kids told me I had to demo for you guys. Give me a second to join the world again. Give me 1 second. Hopefully the regular world here is still going. The Nether crashed on me. 1 sec. Hopefully his game is still going. If not, I'll demo it on my end. Here we are. Okay. So let me make a little break in my invisible wall here and throw some of these gold ingots in here. Hidden feature. These are called piglins right here. And if you throw them, some of these gold ingot bars, you will start to see some things here. There we go. Might start seeing some items that show up. Let's see if it's stuck.
I did not know that. That's cool.
So when you throw these items at them, I'm gonna have to get a bunch of them down here for them to pick up. So the piglin mobs, if you do this, you'll notice they start to drop items. There's a couple items that they dropped. So this is kind of a hidden feature, and this is kind of cool if you're doing some bartering. If you're trying to teach kids about bartering, so now you notice they drop arrows and different items. It might be kind of fun to see who's got the best item or the most items in a period of time. So it's a cool little way to teach bartering. Here's another one. Another fun thing about this update too is striders. So striders are this guy right here. So you can pick this mob up in the menu. Strider. This little egg right here, spawn strider. And you also need this thing called a saddle. It's like a horse saddle. And so you can actually ride on these things like a horse. So you right click it, and it puts a little saddle on them, and you can ride them around. So this is kind of fun. Like I said, the update to the Nether is super hilarious and fun. They have to be in the lava to be able to ride on them. And if you want to go super speed, you equip this thing called the warped fungus on a stick, and oh my gosh, if you right click, he goes super fast. I know you can't see it. Let me jump off him before he kills me. And here we go. Jump back up. Now, one other thing to show you guys, I'm going to get back out to the main world here before my game crashes in Nether again, is the candles. So the candles are such a cool new feature. I think some of the guys that are here in the world may have the same color candle, but there is a whole bunch of different color candles now. Look at all these different colors. Look how cool these are. So if you have a giant game of 40 students in your game, they could all have different color codes, and maybe they're working as a team, especially in a dark environment with the colored candles, could make for a really, really fun, really interesting game. Well, that is the completion of my piece, so I think I'm going to pass this off to Dan. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did.
All right, thanks, Jacob. That was great. I learned a lot about the Nether there. Some great new features. All right, so I'm just going to start sharing my screen here. Just give me a second. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see me okay? Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So just one quick thing about the candles. One thing that I've noticed with using them is that you can only place them on full blocks. It doesn't seem that you can place them on steps or slabs. So if you've made yourself a little coffee table or something like that or whatnot, they won't actually be able to place them on top of those things, which is a little unfortunate. But you know, as with most things in Minecraft, we make do and we come up with different ways of doing what we were thinking of doing. So I'm going to introduce you to a few new things in here today. So one of the first things as a redstone element is the target block. So this is kind of cool. So what I've done here is I've set this up so that it sends out a redstone signal when it's hit with an arrow. And it will activate a certain sequence back here. So if I go to my NPC here, which I've set up to give me a bow and give me some arrows, and I'll go back here, and what we'll see happen if I hit this target is it will light up, and it's given me a golden apple here, and you may or may not have heard the little chiming sound it did. So lots of potential uses for adding that into your redstone builds. And just for those that are curious and may not have seen this before, what I've got is a chain block sequence back here. So when that redstone signal comes out, it lights up that light briefly and it activates these command blocks. So in this case, it actually kills the arrow. It actually removes it from the target, makes it disappear entirely. And then I have a little tell raw that comes up and says, excellent shot, play sound, random level up, and then give a golden apple, which I figure is kind of suitable inside of an education environment. Other elements that we've got in here. So one of the ones that I really, really like is this new ability to take pictures as Polaroids and then paste them up on item frames. So there's actually a new item frame. There's a glowing item frame now, which is really great if you want stuff to light up at night. So before you might actually have had to put a lit block like a lantern, a sea lantern behind it. Now all you need to do is place the glowing item frame, and when you place the item on top of that, as you can see here, there's a bit of a difference between the non-glowing one and the glowing one. So I really like that feature. So to actually do this, let's turn the lights back on. So if I grab a portfolio out of my inventory, you'll need one of these to use this, and drag it down here, and you'll also need the camera. And grab the camera. So I can run around and take some pictures here. All right, guys, smile. There we go. Or what we can do is we can place it on the ground, and I can back up here in between them, and let's just set the timer there and back up here. There we go. So now I've got some new pictures, and I'm going to open my portfolio. And you'll see here down in the bottom here, just next to the trash, is a little icon where I can download this in essence into my hotbar here. So now I have this picture here, and I can just come up and I can right click to place it on my glowing item frame. And of course, you can still use these item frames to do maps. So if I come up here and I make a map, get rid of that apple and those arrows. So if I click on that, I create a map that's going to be red, and it creates my map. And I can place it right-click up on the glowing item frame. Now, of course, the portfolio, you can download the whole thing. You can export the whole portfolio just like that, like you would as you have in the past. So definitely one of my new favorite features. Really great, I think, for students to be able to run around and maybe create some of their own artwork and take a picture of it and display it in Minecraft, or take pictures of their project and put them up on a large board for someone to come by and see, or a teacher to see, a sort of a central place where they've taken different elements of their project that are part of those expectations that they want that teacher to see and assess. And let's move over to some other items that we have here. We also have the new spyglass. I like this. This is kind of cool. I've been wanting something like this in Minecraft for a while. So now, if I select that spyglass, I can zoom in at things at a distance. So I can potentially see things before they come and attack me if I'm in survival mode. It's also nice just to get a view of your surroundings. You could use it potentially for planning your spaces, so you didn't have to fly around and look at everything up close yourself. You could save some time by getting out the spyglass and kind of surveying your territory and how you're planning out your project and your builds in here. So let's see here. The last thing that I'm going to go through here is some of the new creatures. So I can bring up these spawn eggs here, and as you can see, we've got a goat. So goats, of course, are one of the new ones, and there's that new lizard, and I cannot for the life of me pronounce that. Does anyone know how to pronounce that?
It's axolotl.
Okay, there we go. I actually seen one in real life in the Toronto Zoo just recently. They are incredibly adorable creatures. It's so sad that they are endangered. So it's kind of nice that we're able to highlight that in Minecraft education. We also have new glowing squid. I haven't really messed around with any of the glowing ink sacs yet. I imagine there's a use for them, but I have not explored that quite fully yet. So if anyone has any questions, they can just pop it up in the chat, but I think that pretty much does it for me. Good, yeah, good point there. Spyglass is great for students filming and using their world for storytelling. Definitely.
So Dan, one of the things I would add to some of the teachers that might be listening, especially if this is recorded later, is the targets are such a great tool for multiple choice questions. So you could tie it to a command block and it could be the answer to the multiple choice questions. So one target is target A for answer A. Target B could be the answer. And so the sign could have a question, and then you shoot at the target for the answer, and it maybe shoots out a firework or something fun. So there are so many possibilities with the targets that I think that once you start to drum up the ideas, that you get really excited about it. I know for my kids, they would have so much fun just exploring the level, maybe even looking for targets as like a scavenger hunt. There's just a lot of great uses of that particular item.
Absolutely. I think we're actually running way ahead of schedule here for once.
Yeah, this is awesome, everyone. I think we rolled through all of it. Any other examples you might want to see for folks that are in there? Any mobs you didn't get to see, or anything else with the structure blocks? Or in the chat, if you want to share how you think you might use some of these. I saw some discussion happening about how it might apply to your curriculum, like science, for instance. Or feel free to come off of mute if you want to share how you think this might be used in your class, or if you have questions for the mentors. Do the structure block into another world, Bradley?
That's actually a tall order because it does involve using a resource pack. If Nathan wants to give that a go, we could try.
Give me a second.
I was going to ask about the structure blocks too. My question is the range bigger now than the original structure blocks?
It's still 64 by 64 by 64.
Okay, that's cool. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, I was trying to do this on a lot of demos lately on the structure block, but I wasn't able to load it on another world. I can only do it to load on the existing world right now. But this structure block update is really cool. I really love it.
Yeah, that's right. If you click on the link that Nathan posted earlier, in that YouTube, there is another link on there to download the basic structure pack of what you're going to need to import the items into another world. So essentially, as Nathan demonstrated earlier, you're exporting that structure that you've captured as a file onto your computer, and then from there what you can do is you can use that process on that YouTube video to import it in. It's a little time consuming, but it's relatively straightforward.
Yeah, this is only a resource pack, right?
Yeah, so actually, oh wait, am I off mute? Yes. So in the link that I sent you, I might even just bring that up. Give me 2 seconds. There's a bit of a walkthrough through this video, and there are other videos on there as well. This is just the one that was shared with me when I was trying to find this. Where is my? Oh, I need the description. Okay, I think it's just my connection at work. Our YouTube is restricted from work, but in like the more details part, there is there's a resource folder there that you can click to download. They kind of explain it in the video. The tricky part is you need to locate where your Minecraft actual folder is operating from. So I'm just running off my Mac at the moment.
Yeah, you need to actually find the folder for the resource pack for you to copy and paste the actual resource pack so it can load normally. It will be added.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for example, mine, it sits here. So here's the resource pack here, and then in this section here are structures that I've been playing around with. So if I come back to this world and let's say I want to take this structure here, is that I just need to make sure that when I'm saving this, so I'm happy with everything, that when I export, I'm going to be really lazy and just put it on the desktop. There it is, log house. You'll normally find initially it's going to be easier just to put it on the desktop and then drag and drop, but give me a second to find where I put it on the desktop. There it is. So here it is. This is the file that has been exported from the structure block in the Minecraft world. And then so once you have this, and this is just something I've downloaded, this structure folder, and the manifest and the icons came with it, and this folder, which will be empty. So you export your structure. So that's the house that I've just exported through the structure block. And then I pop it into this. Now I'll try, sometimes I've noticed I've had to turn off Minecraft and come back in again. So we're gonna, everyone loves a live demo. So we'll try this. So I'm just going to go just into a new flat world. And we'll try and put this in. Oh, sorry, and I've just missed the most critical step. So because it's, we've got to remember it's like an add-on. So before you open the world, you will need to go into the settings. So here up in settings, and then you're looking for, sorry, it's a behavior pack. You are looking for this structure block pack. Now that will appear. I've made my own. That's why it's got my name and everything on it. But it'll just be, if you've downloaded someone else, it will just be branded in theirs. And that will appear once you have it inside that Mojang folder from Minecraft in behavior packs under the structure block setup. And so I need to activate that. And so that pack now is now active in my world. So then when I go to play, go into the world, give this a go. So same as before, you still need to give yourself the structure block. So / give self structure block. So you do kind of need to think a little bit about positioning and stuff like that, but we'll just put it in for now. So there's my block, pop it in, and I still go load like I did before, but then I pull that name. So log house, and good, it works. So it should pick it up. So I'm just going to pull that up off the ground, and then you won't see it yet until you hit load. But so that's pulled that in from one world to another, and that'll work. So I haven't cleaned up previous structures I've been working with. So so for example, I'll try and put something a bit larger in. Let's just go over here so it doesn't get in the way. Just got to remember what I called it. So volcano. So I took a volcano from a world that Stephen Reed designed because we were doing something with one of our groups around early creation of Earth. And I just thought to myself, it is going to take me forever to build a volcano from scratch. So it's picked it up. The naming has to be exactly the same. I know it's picked it up because this structure here has changed, and I'm kind of really actually pushing the limits of the structure block here. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I want it to sit on the ground. I'm going to click load, and then there it is there. And so if I come up, wow. That is the, yeah, I know, it doesn't just save so much time. So Rob and I do a lot of world build creation type work. So this kind of really helps in managing and saving our time. And so we take any other type of free resource and go, well, someone's put all that hard work in, we'll use it. And so you can imagine that because I needed a volcano to explain this concept of the Earth renewing and being born. It's for one of our Indigenous groups. And they, we wanted to put a volcano in. This saved me hours of work. So yeah, that's kind of the basic fundamentals of it. That house probably doesn't stand a chance now with that volcano going off, but that's okay. But yeah, that's the basics of it. The hardest part is getting this folder in the right place. But as I said, those videos are really good with that. Or if you're on a Mac, take a screenshot right now, and you'll kind of have that pathway set out. But actually PCs are a little easier to get to this Mojang folder. You can just do like a run command type thing and type it in. It gets you there a lot faster. But yeah, hopefully that kind of made sense.
That's awesome. Thanks for expanding on that.
Okay.
Yeah, Lynn, did you have your hand raised? Or Charles, looks like your hand's raised too. Oh, nope, took it down.
Yeah, he already answered my question right now.
Yeah, I'm also very, very excited about what we just saw there. I'm just thinking how kids all around the world, doesn't matter what tenant they're in, can now export their little house or whatever they built, and they can email it to someone now. You know, holy dooly! So I can now collect all these things from people around the world, import it into the behavior, and boom, that's really opened up so many opportunities. So I'm sitting here doing a happy dance, guys. Thank you.
Yay!
That's awesome.
You know, the fact that you have to build all the way, oh, I have to do this again manually, and then this came in, and it really helps a lot lately. That's why I really love this update on the structure block right now. Aside
It's
from
definitely one of my favorite new features.
And Bradley wants to know about the 3D printer option.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I was working with the school the other day, and as part of like a STEM Christmas project, the students are building like Minecraft Christmas ornaments in Minecraft, and then they're going to print them to 3D, and then they're going to go to art and paint them, and so it's like a whole 2-week project they do for Christmas. So yeah, it was pretty cool. There's so much possibility with 3D structures and structure blocks.
Amazing. Well, thanks everybody. These folks will still be here on the chat if you have questions, but goal accomplished. We had happy dances, you guys. We had, and thanks. Sometimes just demystifying. There's so much that happened in the releases. It's just so great to see from practicing teachers how you're using it. And then just the discussion. It was so great to all of you see what's possible. So your homework is to go try some of this stuff and share back with the community for sure. I got a chat prize for just scrolling through. And it looks like Charles. Charles, you're our chat master today. So Charles, just email me at the email in the chat. We'll have a fun new piece of swag for you. This will be recorded, so we'll be sure to push this out so teachers who couldn't make it today can hopefully unpack and all of this great stuff. And then if you want to come off mute and camera, everyone, and give a wave and thank you to our amazing mentors. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There is actually one more last thing that I will mention that's just occurred to me right now that you can
Easter
explore.
egg.
It's the /npc dialog command. So this actually allows you to make NPCs more interactive. You can basically plug in code and have them basically respond to interactions. It is a little complex. And I'm going to see if I can paste a link that I have into the chat here, and you can explore. But I won't go into detail today because I haven't even begun exploring it myself, and it is quite complex. But one other thing that I would say is that if you do have any questions outside of this session, please, by all means, go and visit the Minecraft Education Forum. And I know I'm up there quite a lot.